Before December hits, you have a rapidly shrinking window to get ahead of the cold weather, supply chain shortages, financial hardships around the holidays, and just regular emergency risks that we run into every year because of the cold and snow. Really, most people are not going to do a darn thing about it, but you're different. You're a prepper. You care about your family, your friends, and your loved ones in such a way you're going to take action. Now, I'm going to provide you 10 things that you need to focus on before December hits, before the cold weather sets in, so that you can be prepared and help keep you and your family safe. Let's get into it. Welcome back to The One Row. Around here, we focus on getting prepared, being prepared, everyday carry, and working on practical strategies so that you can be prepared for whatever the world throws at you to keep you, your friends, and your family safe. Now, we're diving into something very, very practical this year. I don't have any gear or anything I'm trying to sell you. I'm just a regular guy who really is passionate about preparedness. I'm into preparedness, passionate about it, and I want other people to start being prepared. And if you are prepared, excellent. You're on the same journey I am, and hopefully we can learn from each other. If you like this kind of content, please check out our live streams on Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern, where we will interact with you. We usually have some kind of particular topic that we talk about, and we take your questions. My wife and I will both come on. Now, winter is a very challenging time to be prepared for, depending on where you live. If you live in, South Florida, and winter is really kind of like the best time of the year, to be honest with you. But for most of us here in North America, we tend to get cold. Here in Virginia, where I live, it's not breathtakingly cold like it is in, say, North Dakota or something like that, but it is colder than I would like it to be. That creates a lot of challenges and dangers because the cold weather, none of us like to be hot and sweaty, but the reality is that the risk of death during normal heat in summer is nothing compared to exposure in winter. And so because of that, whether it be our homes, our cars, our finances, or whatever other arena we are delving into, there's a lot that we can do to be better prepared. The first is to winterize your home before the first freeze. Now, what that really entails is, well, there's some things that you need to buy and there's some things that you need to probably do around your house. First of all, you need to close off any hose bibs, water bibs outside. You need to get those things opened up. You need to close off the internal water that pumps to those so you don't have pipes that freeze. If you somehow do have exposed pipes, you do want to insulate those pipes. If you have not, check your roof for leaks. Go up into your attic and see if there's any leak indications of leaking, any water stains or whatnot. Address those before you start having to deal with ice dams on your roof and stuff like that. Get your HVAC serviced. If it's not been serviced in a while, you might want to get it cleaned out. If it's been serviced, even just getting it cleaned is a great thing to do. And consider sealing off any drafty windows or doors. Not necessarily saying replace all your windows and doors, but they sell on say, Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's. They sell things that you can put in front of drafty doors, for example, to help reduce that. Number one is all of these things are going to help save you money. And number two, these things are going to help you stay warmer. Number two is to increase the amount of water storage you have in your house. I preach all the time, gallon of water per person per day. That's the bare minimum that you want to have. Now, the problem is in winter, some of the things that you face is if you do have get frozen pipes, if you do have water emergencies, if you have a power outage and you're on a well, for example, or you're in the city and the city loses water pressure, whatever, winter is a terrible time to deal with all this stuff. So you want to have extra water on hand, whether it be aquatainers, or any kind of other water storage method. Recommend you have at least, if you've never gotten any water storage, recommend you have at least 14 gallons per person, which would be 2 weeks of water per person. And that's 2 aquatainers, 2 7-gallon aquatainers. So do the math and get your family prepared. Next, you want to update your emergency car kit. Many of us have emergency car kits, but they don't have what they need for winter. So if you're dealing with a winter car kit and you live in an area that is fairly cold, just think about what it would take to survive in your car for 12 hours. If the car died and you're on the side of the road and you're snowed in and nobody can get to you, right? You want a wool blanket, thermal blankets, like the space blanket type stuff. You maybe want hand warmers, even just like, some of those little tea candles can provide a lot of heat inside of a car Obviously, watch for exhaust, carbon monoxide, etc., etc. But you also want to have scraper brushes for the windows, and consider putting some extra gloves and beanies in there just in case you have a flat tire unexpectedly and you have to go outside for a little bit and you just don't normally wear that out all the time. Next, you want to check your propane tank, or for your house, if you're on propane, make sure it's got adequate to get you through the winter. Even if it's not near empty, a lot of times if you just call them, they'll come out and fill it up, even if it's 50-60% full. So do that. That way you don't run out when you need it most. I mean, you know, if you have a, you know, for us, we have our stovetop is on the propane, and then we have a fireplace on propane. So that's all we have. But in a pinch, if the heat goes out, being able to run that fireplace is an awesome thing. Also, even if you just in general lose, even if that's not you, you want to have some extra ability to cook in your house, heat in your house. If you're on coal or firewood, make sure you've got adequate within easy reach of the house, so you don't have to go tromping through. If you have a bad snowstorm, make sure it's covered, protected right up against the house somewhere in your garage, wherever you normally store it. You know better than I do where you actually put your firewood. But if you're on home heating oil, try to get that filled as quickly as you can, because the longer we get into winter, especially if it's a bad winter, the pricing is on that is going to continue to climb. So it's better to do it now than to have to do it in January or February when the pricing is at its absolute peak. You also want to update your Bugout bag and get home bags with cold weather clothing and gear. Consider beanies, gloves, thicker socks than you would normally use, extra thick, multiple sets of thicker socks. Socks are super important. Put in some extra protein bars or emergency rations of some kind if you're in your car for extra calories. Again, if you break down, you're going to be burned through calories really fast, so you want some of the extra calories there. A rain shell. Really, if you think about it, whatever kind of things you're going to want if you have to sit out in the cold all day, with the risk of power outages fairly high in winter due to frozen branches falling on power lines, the grid being very susceptible these days because we haven't expanded our grid here in the U.S. Really in a long time. And that's a whole political discussion. Again, not this channel, but we all know it's a problem. And anyway, winter is a terrible time to lose power, particularly if you don't run your home heating off of some kind of dinosaur juice. What you want to do is you want to make sure your generator is in good working order. You've got all the wiring to hook your generator up to your house. Also consider flashlights, lanterns, replace batteries, make sure they're in good working order, and really everything that you want for power lighting backup in your home. Test it out before the weather gets really cold. Let's face it, winter storms can leave you stuck for days at a time. So consider just restocking some general emergency supplies. We're talking space heaters, heated blankets, plastic sheeting, duct tape, matches, lighters, candles, all that kind of stuff. Just make sure you have enough sufficient to get you through if you did have to go through multiple days, a week, 2 weeks without power. Nobody likes to talk about this next one, but it is financial preparedness over the holidays. And let's face it, it's depressing. Money goes so fast these days, and over Christmas, it's going to be even worse. So if you have not had that conversation with your spouse or the conversation with your checkbook, now's a great time to do that, to plan for the holidays. Put aside money for whatever your travel expenses are going to be. Put aside money for whatever your gifts are going to be. Look at getting your gifts over Black Friday early before things, while there's still some great sales. Now, the sales might run longer, but they may not. So get your stuff early if you can. Try to keep some cash on hand if it's at all possible. But also, it's a great time coming up at the end of the year to check your subscriptions and see, you download Rocket Money or whatever that thing is. It'll tell you all the places that you've got subscriptions running that are charging you every month. Make sure that you're not being fleeced by a service that you're not using anymore. Let's face it, with the cold weather coming and just the weather changes in general, I get very stuffy, and definitely it's the time when we all start getting a little bit more sick. So now's a great time to go to the store and stock up on cold and flu medication. Highly recommend that you pick up, if you're into the herbal stuff, definitely pick up elderberry. I've had great luck with that. Airborne gummies, for example, help keep you from getting sick in the first place, as well as just pure zinc, vitamin D, vitamin B12, all that good stuff. Talk to the pharmacist behind the counter to get the stuff behind the counter. You want to get the stuff that has a real pseudoephedrine in it. You want to get that medication, because that's the stuff that actually is effective and works well. And then also pick up painkillers, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, or whatever it is, but also get some stuff for coughing, some cough medicine, whatever really good cough medicine you prefer. Do it while the pharmacies are still stocked and before you get sick, because you don't want to get sick and then have to go to the store. But with the increased risk of power outages, in addition to the fact that, I mean, my wife, she burns candles like crazy around the holidays. So with that, make sure that you have your smoke alarms. The batteries are good on your smoke alarms. Your CO, your carbon monoxide detectors, fire extinguishers are handy, particularly in the kitchen and garage. And make sure everybody knows where they are and that they're actually pressurized properly. If you tend to run space heaters in certain rooms, make sure that they're placed properly and not too close to sheets and stuff that could catch fire. But yeah, it's a unique time of year, y'all. It happens every year, right? We get into the holidays, time gets away from us, and we get a power outage, we have a bad snowstorm, whatever the case is, and we're stuck and we haven't prepared properly. Let's do something different this year. Let's be a little bit more prepared. Let's be a little more proactive. Plan ahead a little bit more, and that will help us and our families be more prepared and more ready to face whatever the world throws at us. Hopefully you have a beautiful holiday season for Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever you end up celebrating. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please smash that like button, do all that YouTube stuff that helps us out. Subscribe to the channel. See you next time.